Hello and welcome to episode 200 of Ask M&R Productions. That is almost 4 years worth of weekly Q&As on this channel, and it is just insane the amount of continued support this series has gotten over the years. I regularly get like 1,000 questions a week, which is just absurd. And with this very special episode, I decided to allow people to send in videos of themselves asking questions. So this one's going to be a bit different than normal, but hopefully a bit more exciting for that very reason. This is a series that I started on a whim on July 27th, 2017 with a singular question from Lego Paul 94 asking, will we ever build mocks again? And while I have built mocks since that question was asked, I would argue they're not very good. And I think I talked with my friend Jared around like episode 4 about just stopping it, like dead in its tracks. And you know, one of the best decisions I ever made was to not stop it dead in its tracks. Oh, and I almost forgot. Make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed this special edition episode. And throughout the video, I will disperse $200 worth of Lego.com gift cards. So if you happen upon one and you're lucky enough to be the first, make sure you put it to use. And so here we are 200 episodes later, and I am just stoked about this one. I really think you guys are going to love it. So without further ado, let's get into it with our first question from a guy who can hook it up with some Christmas tree deals.
Hey Ryan, we're out here getting the Christmas trees all ready. So my question to you is, what's your favorite Christmas set, or winter set, or advent calendar? Have a good one, man.
Favorite advent calendar, I think, is the most recent Lego Star Wars one that's based on The Mandalorian. Probably just because of like how cool it is to have it all thematically the same in one box compared to every other Star Wars advent calendar that's completely different. As far as Winter Village set, I think the gingerbread house takes the cake there. It's just the coolest one conceptually to me. The others are all pretty similar. They're just like buildings, right? The gingerbread house was something different. And then as far as like a general Christmas set, there was a snowflake that Lego released way back in 2006 that I was lucky enough to get. I don't know, it might have cost like $8, but I was able to get it, and I always just thought that was like the coolest thing for my Christmas display every year that I would have on my shelves. I broke it. I need to just buy a new one at this point, but yeah, I love that good old snowflake ornament that Lego made back in 06.
Ryan, congratulations on 200 episodes of Ask M&R. That is freaking awesome, my dude. Poggers. I was about to say, yeah, I do display some of my Lego right here, so I do love Lego, like, a bunch. Seriously, thank you so much for being my inspiration to just keep collecting Lego and make videos and stuff. My question to you is, if you could see a Lego UCS Clone Wars set coming out, what would it be? If you would want anything in the world, is what I should ask. Any sort of Clone Wars UCS set, what would it be? As many minifigures as you want. You can have 4, 8, 16, whatever you want. Not 2. Also, too, I know you love COD. I'm thinking really quickly. What is your least favorite place to drop in Warzone? Those are my 2 questions. Thank you so much, man. If this seriously gets in, I'm going to freak out, like, so much. Flip out, man.
I'll answer the last question first. The worst place to drop in Warzone for me is Superstore. I just hate landing there. It's not fun. It is an absolute disaster every time. But as for a Clone Wars UCS set, I think it's a bit difficult because I think most things that would be Clone Wars, Lego would go the direction of making it episode 3 because I think that just makes more sense for everybody involved. And so it makes it a bit tougher for me to think of something that is so like unanimously Clone Wars. I mean, maybe Anakin's Jedi Starfighter would be the most reasonable thing I would expect and want out of specifically the Clone Wars. I mean, I would love an ATTE, but I would also feel like an ATTE would make way more sense like the gunship does as an episode 2 or 3 set.
Hey Ryan, my question is, what do you think about these custom molded Lego pieces? I think they're really cool, but what do you think about it?
Custom molded Lego pieces are something that are really common today, and it hasn't always been that way. Like when I first started collecting, you know, mid-2000s, or mostly like when the internet came around for Lego community for me, really like late 2000s. Like it wasn't really a thing. People would do, like if I wanted to make a visor for a clone trooper, like I did this once, I think I would layer white out on top of an existing Lego visor until it was thick enough to look like one of the good Lego visors that is actually like normal looking. But you know, nowadays they have all these great custom pieces that companies like Clone Army Customs make, and I think they are phenomenal because they add a lot of detail that Lego is unwilling to add. I mean, for example, with our Phase 2 Cody figure here, I mean, it just looks so good to have an accurate looking visor on top of the Clone Trooper print. Like, if you don't have the custom pieces, you just can't achieve the great look that they do.
Hi. How do you think Lego decides when a set has to retire? Do they know the retirement date before the release of the set, or does it depend on the performance of the set?
Both. You're kind of on the right track there. So I believe when a set originally comes out, they, along with like their, this on the retailer's like a document, and it's got the market entry date and the market exit date. So for example, the File First Battle Pack came out. Its market entry date was August 1st, 2020, and I believe it doesn't retire until December 31st, 2022. So it still has another year to go. And when it comes out, they acknowledge that, and so they set that up ahead of time. They know they'll be able to produce all the pieces for that thing for that amount of time. And then on top of that, if it's performing exceptionally well, this doesn't typically happen with the smaller retail sets. Like, we probably won't see a set like a File First Battle Pack extended beyond 2022. But for stuff like the UCS Falcon, I would say is a good example. And there are certainly other sets that have been very long running that maybe weren't originally intended to be super long running. They go for the normal 2 or 3 years and then retire. But because they just sell so incredibly well and consistently, there's just no reason for them to retire them as long as they can continue to produce all of the parts necessary to sell the items. So yeah, it's kind of a mixture of both, but mostly for like most retail sets you see, the date is kind of set ahead of time, and that's going to be it. And then for anything else, it's going to be a little bit play it by ear as long as they can still produce everything if it's selling exceptionally well.
Hey man, so I don't really have the biggest income right now, and I recently got back into Lego Star Wars, and I'm super stoked. Like, I just ordered a 501st Battle Pack. It's coming today. I'm really excited. But do you think, like, army building, or not necessarily an army, but, buying multiple battle packs is a good way to get back into Lego Star Wars, or to start collecting Lego Star Wars? Because let's say I get $10 a week, for example. Do you think that money would be well spent paying for a $40 battle pack? Like, let's say 5 of them or something? Or saving up for what would be the equivalent of a $200 Lego set, which would kind of almost be like the Imperial Light Cruiser? Just wanted to know your thoughts.
So I think at the end of the day, it's obviously going to come down to personal preference here. I really don't think if, $200 is the amount of money you're going to make in 20 weeks to spend on Lego, that spending it all on, multiples of the same set is particularly ideal. Don't overthink it and pick what set you want and desire the most to buy. If you want to have 50 blue clone troopers at the end of, 10 weeks or whatever, go and do that. If that is the goal you want to achieve. If you want to have as many different sets as possible, that is an equally valid way to collect and get back into doing it.
Got a couple nice updated new Boba Fett Slave 1s. When are we going to get an updated Jango Fett Slave 1? Will it be USC? Will it be Master Builders? And also, are we going to get an updated Jango Fett? Maybe some arm printing, something like that?
So next year would be the year that would make the most sense for Lego to do this, and that means they won't be doing it. But I mean, look, I think it is tragic how Lego has skipped over this model in a couple of different places that would have made a lot of sense. 2013, Lego brought back episode 2 sets for like a second wave of them, essentially. And it was rather unfortunate that Jango Fett Slave 1 did not make this lineup of sets. There were quite a few episode 2 sets that year, and they put Jango Fett in the Corporate Alliance Tank Droid set, which wasn't even in episode 2, but they made it in episode 2 set anyway. It was in some deleted scenes, but it was not in the actual movie, and I think that's what kind of matters there, but it's still cool. Like, I still really like the set. It's just weird that they kind of found a cop-out way to put Jango Fett in something and not make his Slave 1. And then in 2017, they released the Obi-Wan's Starfighter with Hyperdrive, and this would have been the perfect counter to a new Jango Fett Slave 1 set side by side with it. But in this set, they also included the Jango Fett minifigure, and hence it was pretty obvious that they wouldn't release a Slave 1 alongside this. Now, 2022, I think, is the third opportunity in the line of opportunities to release a Jango Fett Slave 1, and if history is any indicator, it will also be passed up. I mean, I just wouldn't see it as too likely of a thing at this point. Although, if we look at things like the Lego Creator Car that recently received a color swap from, I think it was yellow, and then it was changed to baby blue. I mean, I need to make a video on this because I was going to do it a while back, but basically, like, there's this concept in my head where you can do things like the Slave 1, Boba Fett Slave 1 there, and then you can sell the exact same model, just color swapped and with different minifigs. Bam, you're done. It's so much R&D saved.
If you had to axe one of the following shows, which one would it be and why? Kenobi, Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett, or Mando Season 3? This is the way.
Mando Season 3 has to go. I'm sure the third season of Mandalorian is going to be incredibly compelling, and there's going to be a lot of great storylines. But if Star Wars or Disney ended The Mandalorian after season 2 with handing off Grogu to Ahsoka, it kind of works. You can just chop it off there and say, we're done with this. Now, like I said, I think they can do more things, and it's going to be amazing when it comes out. But if I had to kill one of those shows, I think that's the one I would kill, because I think everyone really wants Kenobi. Ahsoka's obviously going to be picking up Grogu and going and doing things in her show and finding Thrawn and Ezra, and that is all going to be amazing stuff, and I really think that's going to lead into a Thrawn show. And then, of course, Book of Boba Fett is just going to be a fantastic 8 or 9-parter, and I just cannot wait for that.
Between the UCS Imperial Star Destroyer, the UCS Millennium Falcon, and the UCS AT-AT, which one do you feel is your favorite and why?
Without a doubt, the AT-AT, solely because the AT-AT has always been one of my favorite vehicles in Star Wars, like, by far. The battle path is just so cool to me.
What's up? Rodrigo Blankenship here. I guess my question is twofold. So the first part of the question is, what is your opinion on the recent LEGO Marvel leaks that are for early next year? And the second part of the question is, do you ever foresee a time where the Marvel theme is as equally profitable as the Star Wars theme? I feel like the fan base is there for it, so I just wanted to get your thoughts on if you feel like Marvel will ever become as profitable of a theme for LEGO as Star Wars is. Thanks so much.
So I absolutely agree that the Marvel fan base is pretty equally as rabid as the Star Wars fan base, possibly even more so. And I'm not like the biggest Marvel guy. I haven't watched all the movies, and I don't know all the lore, and I still don't know all the lore for Star Wars, but much less so for Marvel. What I see with Marvel from the limited stuff that I've seen is that there's just not as much stuff to like make and sell if you're Lego. Like, you have your Iron Man and your Captain America and your Spider-Man and whatnot that they do over and over and over again, and that makes sense, much like, Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker and Anakin Skywalker, for Star Wars. But I feel like with Star Wars, there's a lot more extra stuff that LEGO is able to do that there's just not quite the same deal in the Marvel universe, or at least as far as like making products for that type of stuff that there's going to be a bigger market for. So I don't see it ever happening as long as there's so many, the thing with Star Wars is there's just so many different variants of troopers, and I don't see the Marvel equivalent of 50 different types of troopers in the Clone Wars and stuff like that. So I think that makes it inherently tougher for Marvel just off the bat, but there's also like always new concepts for Marvel movies coming out, and I guess the same can be said for Star Wars now with all the stuff for Disney Plus, so that might kind of negate that. But Marvel, in my opinion, used to have the advantage of how many different movies they were releasing and different shows and things. They can always coexist, certainly, and they're both going to make fistfuls of money for Lego. So, I mean, it is what it is at that point. I'm sure they don't really care which one's number one as long as one is. But I think another thing that would help with that is more like online content towards that. Like, I feel like the Lego Star Wars community online is just so massive and just kind of trumps anything else that we have for the Lego space as far as an online community goes, that it's hard to touch that sort of impact that you can get with that. So I think that would have to change as well. Also, kind of tying back into the Clone Trooper thing, like, they lack army building. Like, I don't want Shatari? Is it Shatar? I think it's the Shatari. I think that's the only thing that I know you can army build out of the entire Marvel universe, or that Lego's at least made sets off of. And so I think it becomes difficult when you have that too, where you're not going to have people spending, $1,000 on Final First battle packs, but we can also make battle packs for 50 other different things, and Marvel just doesn't have that. As far as the 2022 Marvel sets go, though, there's a few that we've already had revealed, obviously, with the mechs. I do kind of like, and I wonder what people think about this for Lego Star Wars, because I'd be interested to know in the comments, but there's this Iron Man figure, which I'm really interested in, because Lego could definitely do a C-3PO like this. This isn't quite the same as buildable figures of the past that weren't using, like, I guess normal Lego parts is a weird term to use, but for lack of a better term, normal Lego parts to build this for the most part. And I feel like they could do a C-3PO like this, because they definitely need to do a C-3PO. It is shocking, the last one they did was like 2002, and it looked horrid. And I'm surprised they didn't do one with the buildable figures. And I want to say there was something about a big Hulkbuster release, which is certainly exciting for fans of that, although it's kind of crazy how often they do that. To me, the Hulkbuster in that style of build is kind of like the equivalent of Luke's Landspeeder for Marvel superheroes to me. They just do so many things like that. But nonetheless, that looks like a pretty cool one that could come back and obviously make some small improvements on the previous model. But that's everything I know off the top of my head from Marvel next year.
Oh hey, didn't see you there. My question is, if LEGO were to make a new UCS set from every Star Wars theatrical release, what would you like to see them make? Excluding pre-existing UCS sets, of course. Also, man, I love the content. Keep up the great work.
Psst. Hey, and if you want to do any sort of stop motion collab, be sure to hit me up, okay? Bye.
That was really good stop motion. And I looked at this guy's channel. I don't know if it's the same channel he uploaded this on or if like that's his main channel or not, but he literally had like 8 subscribers. This is way too good looking and way too smooth to only have 8 subscribers, my man. We're gonna do an off the top of my head 15-second UCS wish list on all 9 movies that have released in order. Episode 1, MTT. Episode 2, ATTE. Episode 3, Venator. Episode 4, Death Star. Episode 5. Oh, I can't pick AT-AT anymore. The TIE Bomber. Definitely the TIE Bomber, Episode 5. Episode 6, Jabba's Sail Barge. Episode 7, First Order Transporter. Episode 8, The Supremacy. I think it's the Supremacy. It's whatever Snoke's ship is. And Episode 9, Kylo Ren's Shuttle. And heck, let's do some bonus movies here. Rogue One, gotta have that U-Wing. And for Solo, give me Dryden Voss's yacht.
Hey Ryan, so in my future I want to sell my LEGO collection and make a profit, and I have college coming up soon, so would you recommend I sell my collection to help pay the funds of college, or should I wait, say, 10 years and make a bigger profit then?
I'm not an expert on this, but I really don't think being in debt coming out of college is the greatest thing. I think most people would tell you that. So I would sell it up front if it will completely cover the cost of your college. No matter what, you're going to be making a profit. It's hard to know how much more of a profit you could make. Depends on how long you go to college, but 4 years down the road, let's just say, it's impossible to know whether or not it will be worth it to save it or not. So at this point, I would just sell now. If you're gonna sell it, it's sad to see it go, but if you're gonna do that to fund your college, I would fund it up front just so you're not in debt coming out of college.
Hi Ryan, big fan here. My question is, I think with the release of No Time to Die, the newest Bond film, and the popularity of James Bond, increasing because of that, do you think that we're ever going to get a minifigure scale version of the Aston Martin DB5 that he drives? I know there is one of the creator expert, but that one is retiring soon. So given that, do you think we're going to get like a minifigure scale between $30 and $40 released in 2022?
I would love to see them do something like this, much like they did with the Batmobile the Tumbler very recently. Like it would make so much sense for them to do. They won't make a James Bond minifigure because that's too violent for kids. You make it an 18+ site, you put some black box art on it. Nobody's gonna say anything. Who cares? Like just let people buy what they want to buy. And on top of that, I recall, James Bond, the reason that James Bond has Aston Martin to begin with, I believe, is it was originally going to be a LEGO Dimensions property, and therefore we could assume it would have had a minifigure with that. So I don't see any reason they couldn't just put a minifigure in another set now, because they were probably going to do it anyway, and sell it in a $40 set. Like, yeah, 100% it could happen. I would love to see it happen. I'd be all over it, because I was not all over the other one without the figure.
Hey, what's going on, Ryan? Longtime viewer and a big fan of the channel. Congrats on 200 episodes, man. My question is, in all that time on YouTube and in making 200 episodes of Ask M&R, what is one comment or story from a fan that's really stuck with you, that has shown you that you really do make a difference in people's lives, or that kind of gives you the motivation to keep going and doing what you do?
There's a lot, and it's hard to pick just one, but I think the one that will always have hit me the most was a kid who I got an email from his mom. This was right when the File First Battle Pack was coming out, or before it had come out. I had just gotten my review copies from LEGO. They had sent me 3 of them. And his mom said he was in the hospital and he was going to have surgery or something along those lines. And so I sent him one of my File First Battle Packs early. And so I always thought that was something really cool for that kid in particular. And so I hadn't heard anything. This was, June, July. This is July of last year, of course. I hadn't really heard anything about what happened to him. I was kind of, every once in a while it'd pop up in my mind. I'd be a little worried. I'd be like, man, I really hope that kid has made it through, because I didn't know how serious it was. I didn't ask for all the nitty gritty details. And then at Brick Fair this year, this lady comes up to me and she's, says, hey, do you remember my son so-and-so? And I was like, oh my God. I immediately clicked, and I was like, oh Jesus. And, I didn't know if he was there or not. And he's right there. And I was like, oh man, can I give him a hug? I was just so happy. So yeah, I think that's the one that will always stick with me. I was so happy that kid was doing okay. And I don't know, it just stuff like that, I think, keeps me pretty fulfilled. I might have had a tear too when that happened, like at Brick Fair. I was like really happy he was there. Like I can't explain it.
Hi, my name's Keith, and I've been watching your channel for probably 3 to 4 years now. And for Ask M&R 200, I wanted to ask if you had ever contemplated rebuilding one of your sets that maybe you took apart when you were a little kid. Like, I know I have, because I took apart a lot of them, including this one, which I somehow found all the pieces to, luckily. So that's my question. Thanks.
I used to be like all about this. I remember like 10 years ago, I wanted to spend, like I talked to my brother about this, I wanted to spend like a good part of a summer in our big bin of Lego that is just a hodgepodge of old sets at this point, trying to put things back together. I think we got a Jabba sail barge in there, a Plo Koon Starfighter, and God knows a plethora of other random old sets. And ultimately for me at this point in my life, it's not worth the time. All of the parts are incredibly damaged and scratched because they've been in that bin for 10, 15 years. You know, I'll go in there all the time, and we certainly used to a lot more when we were younger. We'd build out of it. Parts get shuffled around so much they scratch up on each other, and they just lose a lot of that luster that they used to have. And so for me, it's not a thing anymore. Definitely if you had asked me 10 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to do it this summer, and then not do it this summer because I spend all summer playing the PlayStation 2 and playing baseball and whatever else we played all summers. It was great.
So I have the UCS gunship, sealed in box, with the incorrect logo. Do you think the value will go up enough with the incorrect logo that it would be worth it to wait and sell that one and then go buy a new one? Or should I just build the one I have now?
First off, love your display in the background. Second off, I've seen this a lot. Like, I've gotten a ton of comments asking me, like, is this gunship box going to be worth more? Should I save it? Should I sell it later? And I really just don't think so. My answer on this pretty much the whole time has been no, I don't think it's going to be worth more. I mean, maybe it'll be worth a small amount more, but I really don't see, 2, 5, 10 years down the line, there being a significant market of people that want the incorrect logo box. And mostly, like, if it was a thing that maybe there were only 100 of, yes, but this is something that's been mass produced and has been being sold for like 3 months, and they're finally getting over to the new boxes, of course, now. But anyone who really wanted one would have one now, and I'm sure other people have invested in it, and that's going to bring part of your value down later on. This is a set that's also going to be out for multiple years, so you'd have to wait quite a while. I would say just build it. I don't see the enhanced value there that I think a lot of other people want there to be. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it'll be worth thousands of dollars 5 years from now, but I really just don't see it, man. Build it and add it to your display. So I picked only video questions other than this one question because I felt like it was important to say now and show the picture along with it and explain my experience that I just had this last weekend. Mr. Bailey has a small story here, and essentially at the end of all of this, his Ahsoka Starfighter broke because it has the brittle old dark red pieces, and I found out that I think less people know about this than probably should. Old Lego dark red and reddish brown pieces are very prone to doing this. If you own an old dark red or reddish brown set, and I think blue might have the same problem, so don't take them apart. Don't do it. This is going to happen. I had a brand new out of the box UCS Slave 1 that I have been holding on to for a couple months now. This is not a problem exclusive to things that have been on the shelf. This was brand new out of the box.
I couldn't. Oh no! Oh my God! Oh no! Oh Jesus!
What?
Oh, I can't look.
What happened?
It's like when Gordon Hayward snapped his leg. Oh.
He must have stepped on something, then.
Oh, damn. We got him on the big screen.
I was like, well, I thought because maybe something
so
broke.
bad. It's so bad.
What did you do? Oh, damn.
It's so bad. Oh!
Oh! Yikes. Damn!
Oh, I heard it. Oh, it's so bad.
Oh, that's way rough, worse than the one that happened to me.
Oh, it's time for the Craggle.
And so I would be very cautious if you have sets like this, either putting them together, even if they're new out of the box, or if you're going to clean them, do not take them apart, man. This is tragic to see. Yeah, don't do that. Bailey, just know that our sacrifices have saved many others a lot of trouble.
Hello, M&R. For your 200 special, I'm going to ask you what your top 5 Lego themes are. And Ninjago should be on it because it's actually good. Anyways, thank you.
Ninjago is top 5 in some alternative universe, not this one for sure. Top 5, obviously number 1 by a wide margin is Star Wars, and then the other 4 in no particular order would probably be Harry Potter, SpongeBob, Pirates of the Caribbean, and then Marvel probably slips in there.
My question for Ask M&R 200 is, who are your all-time favorite New England Patriots players?
Players no longer on the team: Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Julian Edelman. Like, just top tier folks right there. Also kind of like low-key Danny Amendola, Chris Hogan, always loved them. Matthew Slater is kind of another really low-key one that I think a lot of people underrate. Most people that don't watch the Patriots probably don't know who he is anyway. And then obviously currently Mac Daddy Jones back there.
Hey Ryan, 101 Bricks here, and I'm wondering, what Master Builder Series Star Wars set would you be most surprised to see in the next couple years? Also, I love your channel, love what you do.
Geonosis. I would be the most surprised to see Geonosis. The Star Wars designers have shown time and time again a complete reluctance to do anything prequel other than the gunship, when we basically had to hound them to do it and win a vote, you know, which we won by flying colors. But, yeah, Geonosis would be the most surprising thing by far. I'm really excited, though. I got the Republic Bricks one. I'll have a review on that here kind of soon. But, yeah, that would be the most surprising thing they could do to me.
Hey, Ryan. Has your UCS gunship given birth yet? Well, mine's about to. Aww.
The aw got me. Yeah, I took mine out back and buried it. It won't be giving birth anytime soon.
I have two questions. Do you think will LEGO make UCS first order sets or UCS sets from the new movies that Star Wars makes? Because the only time we had something like that was with the Millennium Falcon. I want to hear what you think about that. And the second question is, who is older, you or Justin Good?
I think I'm older than Justin, and I also think there's a very slim chance they'll be doing anything from the sequels in UCS form anytime soon, which is a shame because, like, there was a lot of hype around those movies, and if they had released a UCS, I don't know, let's call it Kylo Ren Shuttle, I think that's the one that would be most likely, 3-4 years ago, it would have done pretty well, I would say. I think there's a lot of disdain for the sequels now, unfortunately. As much as I love a lot of the ships from the movies themselves are generally regarded as not very good, and, you know, it's kind of unfortunate because I think there could be some cool things there. So, yeah, I just don't see it happening, unfortunately, and I think the Luke's Landspeeder that's coming out next year is further proof that they have no desire to capitalize on the fleeting popularity of those movies.
My question is, why do you think LEGO has made only 19 Attack of the Clones sets in the past 2 decades?
Because it's the worst movie. I'm sorry. I love the Clone Wars. I love like the cinematography of it, but the movie itself, I don't know if it's the worst. Episode 1 might be the worst, but I reconciled to myself about 6 months ago that Episode 2 is actually the worst movie, and I've just kind of stuck with that. And the only reason we ever got that second wave of sets in 2013 that I was talking about before was because they were redoing all the Star Wars movies in 3D, and it was supposed to be the 3D re-release in 2013 after they had done the 3D re-release in 2012 of Episode 1. That's kind of how that got planned out, and then all of that got canceled because Disney bought Star Wars, which was probably the best. Like, I went to the first 3D re-release of Episode 1. It was cool, but, like, I don't know, it's so lame. It's lame. What did I say it was cool? It's not. Anyway, I just had to cut in there.
It seems odd since the movie had many new ships and vehicles, and since it also came out almost 2 decades ago. But then movies like The Force Awakens have gotten a lot more than 19 in the past, 5 years.
No, I agree with that sentiment. But you also have to look at, Lego Star Wars was very different 15 years ago when the original Episode 2 movie came out. It wasn't as poppin'. Lego as a company themselves was on the verge of bankruptcy at that time. They were not producing as many sets as they do now. So I don't know if that's a necessarily one-to-one fair comparison, but I do agree it does suck that one of the movies that we like a lot of the vehicles from, and I don't know this to be 100% true, but I believe that the designers, the people that make Lego Star Wars sets, whoever the head people are, they pretty much pick what they're going to make and sell and that sort of stuff. And if the designers themselves don't like a movie, which chances are they don't like Episode 2 because they're, I don't know, most of them are 40 to 60 years old, that kind of age range. 60 might be a little bit high. But nonetheless, in the age range that definitely hates Episode 2, you're probably just not going to get a lot from there. And it sucks.
Hey, M&R, tell me exact number of Lego pieces you have. Or pay the price.
I don't know, I swear I don't know. I don't know nothing, man. I don't know nothing. I really don't know how many pieces I got. 69.
Hey Ryan, I can't show my face today.
Didn't do his makeup.
But I do have a question, and also first, before I start, I want to say I really love the 501st sets. I bought 3 of them. They're awesome. Thanks so much for helping us get them. Now on to my question. do you think we'll ever get any more sets from the Old Republic video game? I really liked them, but I was a little too young when they came out, and I never actually managed to get any, and they're pretty expensive on aftermarket for sealed. So I was wondering if they might ever remake some of these.
I don't know about like specifically from the video game, but there was a pretty strong rumor that popped out, I don't know, like a month ago that you might not have seen, that apparently, so they pushed back the Rogue Squadron Star Wars movie that was going to release in 2023, and the strong rumor is that an Old Republic movie will be the like first new Star Wars movie after the drought here. So if that happens, then I think we're in luck here, because that would be phenomenal, and we could get some awesome Lego sets from that.
Hello there. I just wanted to ask this one question. What did you think about the 2021 Disney Plus Day from the kind of Star Wars perspective? Because I feel like it was kind of lackluster for the amount of content that Star Wars fans got in general.
I mean, obviously, yeah, they did not show jack all for Star Wars. They had the Kenobi thing that like leaked out the day before, and then everything else Star Wars just wasn't there, which is a bit of a shame, but I don't mind it as much as I think a lot of other people did. There were a lot of very angry people on the internet, and I get it. You want to see all the new stuff and whatnot. But specifically for like a movie experience and a viewing experience for a TV show, I don't need to see a trailer for a TV show that's not going to come out till next May on Disney Plus. Like it's just not what I'm looking for personally. So, I mean, I get wanting to see it. It's like I would watch it for sure. But like it's just so far away, and the way Disney does their marketing for Star Wars shows specifically right now is that they wait until it's pretty close to release date. And I think that's the best way to do it.
Hi Ryan, what are your favourite sets for both Hoth and Tatooine? Personally, for Hoth, I like the medical chamber, and for Tatooine, I like the 2006 Zobot. But I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
So if the 2021 UCS AT-AT didn't exist, then my answer would be the 2007 Hoth Echo base set. Just amazing. And then for Tatooine, Mos Eisley Cantina is pretty killer. It's one of the best sets Lego has ever made, and I think 5 years from now that'll be very apparent.
Hey Ryan, my name is Squid Matty, and here is my Ask M&R question. So I've wondered for a while actually, how come you spend a lot of your money on a sealed repeat of a set that you already own, instead of buying the few Star Wars sets that you don't already own, further completing your Star Wars collection?
So some of the stuff that I buy sealed is stuff that I don't already own. It just kind of depends on what I want to make videos on currently. For a lot of the stuff that I'm currently repurchasing, it's stuff that is in pretty poor condition or relatively poor condition relative to what I want in my collection. And so, if I want to do a review on a desert skiff, it'll take me hours to find everything that goes with that set. No guarantee I will find it all either. For me, it's just cheaper from a time perspective to go on eBay and spend $80 on a sealed version. So that's a big part of it, is just the time it would take me to gather all of the things. And then also just the for like a future proof of my collection point of view, when I get glass display cases in a house and all of that stuff, in 20 years. And, I can put it on display and it's perfectly clean forever and ever and ever and ever. And that's the way I want it to be. I get why it's confusing, but for me, I feel like I have slightly different priorities right now. And on top of that, like if I'm showing something on video, I don't want to like zoom in on a Lego piece and it be really dusty. Like, I don't think anyone wants to look at that. So if you're looking at a review of an old set that I'm making in 2021 or 2022 and beyond, I want it to be a high quality review that can stand the test of time.
I want to know why you don't complain a lot about Lego being expensive, like generic stud does.
Generic studs, you got called out. Oh my god, that is so funny. I did not vet this question before. That is continue though.
Anyways, I like your channel, your videos. Also, you
well, he says also and then it cuts off, so I don't know what his also was, but I like the display there. I have maybe a different perspective on Lego pricing now that I'm older too, but I generally find Lego to be pretty fairly priced. There are a lot of comments on the internet, just general people talking that I see about how Lego is so expensive. And I look at like the field, and while yes, Lego is making hand over fist on their products, like every company is entitled to make a profit, obviously, in my opinion. I don't think it's like grossly overpriced. I just don't. And, that's just an opinion I hold. I also don't think that they're screwing other countries with international pricing. That's another strong opinion I hold. Like, these are places that I'll pretty much defend Lego to the end. Now, I think relative to one another, some sets are overpriced, But I think generally as a product and for the value you get out of the product, Lego is really fairly priced.
Ryan, congratulations on 200 episodes. I was just wondering, what are your thoughts on sets like this, where like the Iron Man Hall of Armor, which are intended to, add more figures and expand? Because I know you like to keep your sets as is, so I was just curious, what were your thoughts on something like this?
Oh, I'm all for it. I think it's a really good concept, and I wish they could do more things like it for Lego Star Wars, although there aren't, it's not the same for Lego Star Wars like when you have an Iron Man Hall of Armor style build, but like more so for keeping my sets the same as they come. It's more to the concept of like modifying them in a way that Lego didn't intend, right? Like, because Lego screwed this thing up, I should be the one that has to fix it, even though I paid $80 for it, right? Like, a lot of people already say Lego's super expensive, which I, like I said, disagree with, but you can't have the Lego super expensive argument and then the, oh, we can forgive them for this easy to fix mistake that they made that would be super cheap. So there's two schools of thought there, but I just, I think this is a really great concept, and it's if I was going to display it though, I would still display it like as it came as the set in the box probably.
What's up, studs? Taz J Bricks 37 here, and I'm back today with a question for Ryan. So over here we got these two clones I got some questions about. All right, let's set these bad Larrys down here. Let's get to business. So these boys right here came in the 2010 Swamp Speeder. And in my opinion, I think they look pretty sick. As you can see from these two boys, their helmet molds are different, but they are the exact same clone, just this one has quite a misprint. And I have also proven to myself that these two helmets are indeed real Lego. In your review of this Swamp Speeder, you had this clone, but in none other than video, I found this clone proving it's a real mold. So what are your thoughts on changing this mold mid-production of the set? And so does that mean that Rich Boy Jay has to adjust his minifigure wall to this? And lastly, thank you so much, Ryan, for inspiring me to collect Lego just like you.
Yeah, if Rich Boy Jay doesn't have this clone trooper, he's clearly a fake collector. On top of that, though, I didn't know about this. It's always really cool to learn something new about Lego Star Wars for me, and I can only assume that they made two different molds for this helmet, and one of them had a slightly different sized little dot on the back, or whatever it is that's a different size on the back of that helmet. It's certainly not anything significant enough for anyone to have probably noticed until this point, which is pretty crazy. But that clone trooper, I think, only ever came in that set, if I remember correctly. So, like, there weren't people with multiples of them. It's not like they came in battle packs where people would have, 30 of them, and then they'd be like, whoa, these are different. They came in a set that was $30. It was, compared to other things available at the time, very overpriced. And so a lot of people that did have one only had one. And it's probably why this in particular hasn't really been noticed by many people until literally right now. I would ask the Lego Ambassador Network, but I'm not in it anymore. And even if I was, they would never get back to me with an answer.
My question for Ask M&R 200 is, if I had $1,000, what Lego Star Wars item should I buy?
You have $1,000, and you can buy, or seem to want to buy, a singular item, which means you are in the big time. Now, unfortunately, I'm going off sealed values here. You can't quite get a dropship with ATOT anymore. You can't go for the OG Cloud City. Like, there's definitely some really dope sets under $1,000 though. And I obviously, based off your 5-second video, don't know what you have and don't have, but let me rattle off a few suggestions for you. Now, you could go for the currently available UCS Star Destroyer, and of course, coming out in a couple days, the UCS AT-AT. You'd be very happy with either of those. But if you want a legendary classic, I would highly recommend some of the most classic sets that you can go out and buy that I think you might really enjoy. The 2007 MTT is forever and always probably going to be the best one unless they make a UCS one. And even then, I don't think it'll lose a lot of value, and it's just an absolute classic. It looks incredible. I also think a set like the 2008 ATTE or the UCS Slave 1 can be really good. And even at that, depending on how much you pay for those, you might have enough to buy both of those things, right? Like $1,000 is maybe just enough. There's a lot there for you, and I trust you'll make the right decision, but those are just a few suggestions for you. But like, you can do a lot with that $1,000. You could also get just a bunch of smaller things. So yeah, it's a lot of money. Have fun, dude.
Ask M&R 200. Which clone armor style for Phase 2 is your favorite? The AP2 style, which is based off the Clone Wars show, the RP2 style, which is based off Revenge of the Sith, or the 2020 style, which is kind of a mix of both and not really is based on anything, but if so, more on the Clone Wars.
All right, so you totally left out the 2005 Episode 3 Clone Trooper, and I don't appreciate that because that is by far the best Clone Trooper Lego ever made. No, I'm kidding. It's good, but it definitely has its flaws. Out of these three that you're showing here, just design-wise, not specifically the type of clone it is, I don't love the newer version. Now, I like it. I have a bunch of them, obviously, but it's not my favorite. I don't like the white waistband. I think it looks cheap. I think it looks like they just forgot to print there, and I don't like that, quite frankly. When you get to the other two, it's a little bit tougher. There are some small differences in design. I think I slightly prefer that Clone Wars style Episode 3 or Phase 2 design. I just think it looks a little bit cleaner.
Hello, M&R Productions. I'm a huge fan, and I would like to ask this weird question. What is your Christmas list? Goodbye now.
Goodbye now. I don't have a Christmas list. It's one of those things as you get older, you generally run out of things you want. It's weird. Definitely when I was your age, man, my Christmas list was full every year. I'll tell you what, I would go through the Lego catalog. I want the Star Destroyer. I want the Clone Turbo Tank or the Millennium Falcon, the Geonosian Starfighter. I mean, you name it, I probably wanted it, right? But it's not quite the same anymore. And socks were the worst gift to ever get, socks and underwear, just terrible gifts for 10-year-olds. But, honestly, my mom asked me recently, she's like, tell me your Christmas list, tell me what you want for Christmas. She has asked me a few times within the last month. And every time I'm like, I want nothing, right? And she knows I want nothing. I think she just wants to get me stuff just to have stuff to unwrap, which is very, very nice. But yeah, it's literally I don't have a Christmas list. I mean, if I was going to have anything that's, nice to have is literally just new socks and new underwear. It's nice to have fresh clothes on, right? So yeah, that's where I'm at. It's kind of sad, but yeah, I have nothing on my Christmas list. There's nothing I want in the world, and well, I guess there are things I want, but not things money can buy, I suppose.
Hello everyone, I am 7 Stud of a 7 Stud, better known to Ryan as Ace. I'm a friend of Ryan's, and honestly at this point, probably his part-time therapist as well, because he's too cheap and lazy to go get the real one that he needs. I'm famously known in this community for beating Ryan in a 1v1 on Modern Warfare and almost making him cry.
I have beat Ace 99 times out of 100, and he won't let go of his one victory. Just saying.
And advocating for a TIE bomber, we got robbed. Recount the vote.
Oh, we recounted, and you actually had less votes.
I'm here today to ask a very important question that obviously millions of LEGO fans across the globe have had on their minds. And that is the one that Ryan needs to answer right now, and it is, what do you think about the pedestrianization of Norwich City Centre? That is all.
I don't know what that is, but thank you for your submission.
Hello, Ryan. My question for you is, in your room, right above your window, you have this Lego Kylo Ren box thing. I'm not 100% sure what it is. I just want to know what it is, and where can I maybe get one? Thank you.
So I haven't got a clue where you can get one, but I got mine from Walmart. I didn't buy it, obviously. It was one of those store display things. So obviously this has been phased out a year and a half ago is when I got it. And it was just something I had on a cart. They were going to throw it away. And I asked the lady if I could have it. And she said yes. And that was that. So yeah, I don't know if you can find them on eBay, maybe. I mean, but unfortunately it's just one of those things that there aren't going to be many of. And you just got to kind of get lucky to find one.
Hey Ryan, since I know you collect the small box versions of the LEGO Star Wars sets, I was wondering if you'd ever collect the thumb tab versions as well. I know they're really inconvenient for collectors and a lot of people hate them, including myself, but it was just a thought. Love the videos and keep up the great work.
Okay, so for people that don't know, some LEGO boxes come with thumb tabs and some of them come with tape, and I think it's just something that has to do with the region of manufacture, where it's packaged, and there's not any rhyme or reason to it. I don't find it to be significantly different enough to have any sort of sub-collection for it, so no, I'll probably never, I'll say now, I just will never collect something based on the tape or lack thereof for a box. But I will say, you say it's a pain in the butt to open them. If you take a knife and you slide the knife under the lip there, you can actually open thumb tab boxes without breaking the thumb tabs. I would highly recommend practicing this on some File First battle packs or something if you can find some, but it's a really easy thing to do. You just stick the knife in there, wiggle it through, and you cut all the glue basically that's there, and then you're in the box like a normal box, and you don't have to break the thumb tabs, so definitely use that.
Hey Ryan, Jess here. I remember you were really excited about Bullio in Star Wars Episode 9. So, how do you think his role turned out?
Oh, we're going way back now. We're going to before Episode 9 came out, huh? I would say, Bullio served a great purpose. He was a fun character with a fun name. They didn't, go over the top with him. He was there. And I like also, characters, you don't have to have every character have like a entire backstory, and they don't have that for him, and I like that. I like that he's just a character that existed for right then and there, and then he was dead, and I always thought that was really funny. It's really cool that we have the Lego figure, obviously, and I'm pretty happy with the way it went. He's not a main character by any stretch of the imagination, but he's a fun one, and it's always fun to have things like that. By the way, the guitar playing was really cool, and I appreciate it, and I love the display, and yeah, just thanks for the question, man.
Hey M&R, what is one thing you find attractive about Supreme Leader Snoke?
What vehicle from the original trilogy would you like Lego to make into a set next?
Luke's land speeder and his personality.
Who is your favorite Jedi from the prequel trilogy? From Solo 406. Good job, M&R Productions.
Anakin Skywalker. Anakin Skywalker.
Hey Ryan, what's the first Lego set that you bought that you considered expensive? No, how much did it cost?
The first one that I bought with my own money that I thought was a lot of money was the Clone Turbo Tank, which I think was $90. I probably bought that in late 2005, no, probably early 2006, something like that. When I was 9 years old, I had saved up enough money to get that.
Hi Ryan, I'm just showing my Lego collection in the background. Okay, 3 things. First, any tips on how to grow my YouTube channel from scratch? And is it possible to have Lego content on this channel, although it's not made for Lego? Or should I make a new one? Third, what do you think about Rex Att? I feel like it's underrated.
I agree, Rex's ATTE is underrated, but for good reason. It's because Rebels is underrated, and I get why people don't want to give Rebels a chance. If you still haven't, I highly recommend it. It's a phenomenal series after you get past the first season and a half or so. But yeah, it's a good one, but I also think if you have a hodgepodge ATTE like that, you're not competing with the cooler, sleeker ATTEs that they've released as well. It's going to be the bottom of the barrel for most people. Unfortunately, as cool of a set as it ended up being for me. I didn't get to look at your YouTube channel, but I will tell you, if you're early on, have no shame in changing your content. It is not too late. It is not a big deal if you just full stop, change what you're doing, and move into Lego content. And as far as tips go, I mean, certainly from this video, I can tell you should probably speak up a little bit more. Your cuts with some of the audio definitely need to be refined. Little things like that would help you a lot. But generally, it looks like you've got decent lighting in your room to start. So I'd obviously recommend getting maybe an extra light and having a specific setup for whatever you want to do. But yeah, good luck, man.
This is my current 501st Army, but I need a commander for my army. Currently, I just made some cloths out of paper for a regular trooper, but I want a Captain Rex. So would you recommend waiting for Lego to make a Captain Rex, or just buying one off of Clone Army Customs?
Clone Army Customs Captain Rex can cost you about $30 probably, which is, a price of a whole battle pack, which isn't ideal. I would wait until at least January 1st, because January 1st is the day that the two $15 Lego Star Wars figure packs are going to be coming out. And while I won't sit here and guarantee anything's going to be in them, at the very least, I expect a Commander Cody. I would be shocked if there isn't also a Rex, though, too. There really should be both there. So if it doesn't come out January 1st, then I'd say, go and look into an alternate thing for Captain Rex there. But hopefully it does come out, because it's definitely well overdue.
First off, let me stack some TIE Fighters to piss people off. Mission somewhat accomplished. I can't stack any more TIE Fighters, otherwise they'll fall down. Now, me personally, I've been watching this series for a long time. I don't remember what episode I came in, but I was there for the memorable ones. 66, 69, and episode 100. So, make sure to smash a like and subscribe down below for Ryan, because he makes this a great series, and this is my second favorite series he has on his channel. Now, my question is, how many UCS AT-ATs will you be buying for your Hoth mug?
I really want to buy 5. I don't want to buy 5, but I want to buy 5, if that makes sense. $2,000 for 5 AT-ATs. Is that what it costs? Is it more than that? Please don't tell me it's more than that. Math in head. It's $4,000. Oh my goodness. It's what I would love to do. I would love to make just a ginormous, I'd probably build it in my garage, just absolutely gigantic Hoth build when I move. It is at the top of my list of like dream accomplishments. I always, way back in the day, a lot of people probably don't even know the name. Brick Plumber is for people that build Lego Star Wars MOC, a pretty legendary name. And he had built this really great Hoth MOC years and years ago, and I always loved that so much. And I would love to build something on that level, and hopefully better than that. I would love to strive for greatness in my MOC building, because it certainly has not been great to this point. But I have always felt like I have lacked some of the tools to be great in that aspect as well. So yeah, that's, expensive, but if the series goes as well as I would think it could, it would certainly pay for itself, which would be just phenomenal. But yeah, I want 5. I really want 5. Okay, so this guy sent in a video of his Lego, but he didn't say the question in his video. He wrote the question, but I wanted to answer it anyway because I thought it's a good one. He says, "Hey Ryan, as you can see, I've got a lot of Lego and I want to get rid of it all, but I just don't know how, so I have come down to 3 options. First option, I just sell it and I sell all of it. Second option, rebuild sets like I did with the ATST. Third option, just bin all of it. Love your vids." And thanks, Joseph. I highly recommend just selling it all as one bulk lot and being done with it. I think it is not worth the headache of rebuilding everything. You certainly shouldn't throw it away. If you're going to do that, you may as well just donate it to a charity. But really, I think the best option for you, all things considered, is to just sell the bin as is. And, you're not going to get as much money as if you built all the things out of it, but that's going to take you a lot of time, and I don't recommend doing that.
Hey Ryan, do you think we'll get a play scale or UCS TIE Bomber in the next 5 years? I love the ship, and I wonder whether I should wait or make a custom one myself. Love your channel, Griggs from Poland.
I definitely think making a custom one is not a bad option here as for a smaller version, but the indicator here for you, I think, is going to be when does LEGO come out with a big Nebulon B frigate, because the Nebulon B frigate was definitely second place in the UCS vote of the 3 between the gunship, the frigate, and the TIE Bomber. If they come out with a frigate, then the TIE Bomber would be the next, if they do it. And that's hard to know, unfortunately. So I would say go out and get a custom, reasonably sized build, and then hopefully one day LEGO will make a UCS one, but it's a crapshoot. It's hard to know. And somehow, some way, we have made it to the end of Ask M&R Productions episode 200. This was a great idea. I am so glad I opened this up to allow people to, literally ask me questions, and it was very fun. I hope to do this again one day, maybe for episode 300. Thank you guys to everyone that submitted. I'm sorry I could not get everyone that submitted into the video. It obviously was already super long. I tried to get as many people in as I could, though, so thank you to all of those who submitted. Thank you guys for the continued support of the series. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Ask your questions in the comments below for the next episode, and I'll see you in the next episode. Have a great Thanksgiving, Black Friday. Happy holidays, everyone.